Su proyecto, ¿de cuándo para acá lo pueden decir?
Disgorge is a Mexican band formed in 1994, not to be confused with Disgorge from California, in the lovely state and totally safe for living of Querétaro, Mexico. Disgorge would be a death grind band with influences being stated as Carcass, Mortician, Pathologist, Cryptopsy, Exhumed, and later on bands such as Devourment would even be called an influence. Their sound is very death metal and brutal death metal, based with heavy grindcore influences, with people even calling the band a gore grind band. The band would, like many gore grind bands, use gory imagery and lyrics. The band would even use artwork images from a lot of like Mexican pathologists or a lot of like photographers that specialized in death and the macabre. I thought that was a cool fact. Its lyrical content is almost all pathological, and at the very least, medical term based. Lyrics contain tons of medical terminology. While not all of them make complete sense, for the most part, they kind of do. At the very least, the band, while still with Antimo, made most of its lyrical content to be about death, medicine, and pathology. Formed by Edgar Garcia, Antimo, and Garimo, I mispronounced that, the drummer and white Aryan king of Mexico itself. The band released its first promo in 1994 and would spend most of its formative years releasing demos along with Samuel Oliveira, who played lead guitar for this promo. He did not ever come back for the band though. The three are the main lineup for this band. They would release a rehearsal demo as well as another demo. Then they released their last two demos, Through the Innards in 1995 and Blood and Pus Emanations in 1997. Most, if not all of these demos would be compiled in the Gorlix compilation in 2001. In 1996, they toured Central America, visiting the countries of Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. They did this with the American Line Productions, a Mexican death metal and extreme metal label. Then in 1997, the band would release its first album, Chronic Cropia Infest, recorded in Tequila Studios in Jalisco within 97 and signed to the Perpetual Records for this album, as well as distributed by Oz Productions. American Line Productions would also release the album on CD, which is really cool of them. The album would more or less put the band on the map. The success of this album would allow the band to tour again in Central America. The band in 1998 would release another promo demo and would do shows mostly in Mexico for the time being. Forensic would be recorded in 1999 at the Spectaco Studios in Mexico City. The album would be described as the most harsh and brutal album, with it purposely being mixed to be noisier and harsher sounding. Now, a fun fact, George Fisher of Cannibal Corpse would do vocals on the 8th track, Cervix Flexworts, which is pretty cool, or up to me at least. The cover of the album, which is a morgue photo of an aborted fetus from a car crash, or the miscarriage of a fetus, I know, extremely tasteful and insightful. It said that Antimo was friends with Teresa Margoles, who is a Mexican photographer and artist who specializes in the deaf and the macabre, and has said that the band was given the photo by her. She's also credited as the photographer for this album. Travis Ryan of Cattle Decapitation ranked the album as having a #1 most disturbing album cover of all time. Forensic was licensed to Necropolis Rex in the United States and Canada, although never reported any sales to Disgorge or Disgorge labels, Repulse, or even consistently paid to either one. After the album's release, they would do the European Forensic tour with the band Statoramium, spanning across 14 different countries. This album would probably be their most successful one, and it's also the one that most people know, probably because of the cover. This would be the band's magnum opus, even said by Antimo in an interview in 2001. Disgorge released another split record with the wonderful porno grind band at Cock and Ball Torture in 2001, and their side would be called Gore Masker Perversity. In 2002, Disgorge would switch to another record label. But with Disgorge's Gore Masker Perversity. This is my favorite Disgorge release, or at least Cornucopia Infest is. After this release, their third studio album, Necroholocaust, was released, which is also the last album that Antimo would be a part of. A split video would be released along the bands Oxidized Razor, Carney, Seaman, and Cocofina in 2004. Shortly after this release, Antimo would depart from the band as their vocalist and bassist, and Antimo would join many death metal or black and death bands afterwards. It still makes music, and he even does interviews still. The band now would have Edgar Garcia on vocals, now as Antimo left the band. 2006, Disgorge's last album, Gore Blessed of the Worms, was released with Edgar Garcia Gernardo on guitars and vocals as well. They hired a new bassist, Hector, that's all he's credited as, to play for the band. He would leave the band in 2011. The band would also have one of the coolest performances ever known to man in Moscow, Russia in 2008. It's a shame Antimo wasn't there, but it's not a bad performance by any means, and it's pretty cool. And the entire concert is on video and is on YouTube. Watch it if you ever have the chance. Edgar does a pretty good job of vocals in it. Not as great as Antimo, but Edgar does do a good job. The band would release mostly splits and compilation albums, and really hasn't released anything since 2021. And for a basic rundown, that's the story and history of Disgorge, a band that I love to death. Disgorge is like one of my favorite bands of all time. They've also been a reason why many bands I like are even here, such as Viscera Infest, a band that has called Disgorge as their biggest influence. I remember vividly hearing songs like Lymphatic Orgy and Alcateried Incubation for the first time. Dude, it was so cool. The band is pretty amazing, and I wanted to show off this band that I hold a lot of love to. I mean, I probably missed a lot. This was just a basic rundown, and the band, it's kind of hard to come by information for the band. I had to translate some interviews, and that was what I kind of went off of. But yeah, this was Disgorge Mex. Also, Disgorge Mex is better than Disgorge California. If you like Disgorge California, you're a fucking fat.